for you, Eve? All for
Okay.
you.
I am good, thank you. I always get so nervous before these meetings, but I am thinking of the words you said and they're making the nerves slightly better. So before we start the whole conversation, do you mind sharing a bit about who you are, where you are from, and what you do?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Luís Rita. I'm Portuguese. I'm 25 years old. I last year I was enrolled in a master's here in Imperial College of London, Biomedical Research. I developed two projects, one in anti-cancer nutrition and the other in road safety. The first one, the goal is generating recipes that can help treating and preventing cancer. This one I continue this year for PhD. The other one, in the road safety, the goal was to detect the areas of high risk in London for bicycle riders. And I co-founded with Miguel last year, CycleAI, where we pretend to have a similar approach, but worldwide. And we aim not only to create maps of safety for cities to identify these dangerous spots, but as well as integrate our solution in micro-mobility vehicles like scooters, bicycles, and having them scanning the surroundings in real time, detecting the objects that can be a threat for bicycle users, and it can provide some type of action in those vehicles. For example, light signals, sound signals, increase, decrease the speed of the bicycle, with the aim of increasing the safety of the rider.
Oh,
And
that's a lot, and that's great. I love the whole idea of cycle AI.
yeah,
Sorry. So
yeah,
I'll bring my
I really use bicycle quite a lot. And Miguel had like a bad accident last year. That's how it started, the CycleAI. So it was Miguel knew about my project last year in September. That's the one that I've developed in masters. He told me about the bicycle accident that he had. He was like, it was a very bad accident. He was in the hospital for a very long time, and when he came out, he contacted me. On the day after this happening, we start working on a daily basis on this, and today we won one of the challenges organized by Microsoft, so like a very big sponsor, and now the sky. Now the sky is the limit. Now the sky is the limit.
there is no limit, hey? We do not have limits. So I also found out that you have a PhD in computational medicine.
Yeah.
How do you manage to get all the work you need to get done without allowing external pressure and mental health to affect your work and the quality of your work?
I think the most important thing is to do it with a purpose. If we are just doing a PhD, just like for the title of the PhD, if we are just founding a startup just for the money itself, I think it's very complicated to be motivated enough all the time so that you can put a lot of hours in these projects. And these projects, to be successful, have to put a lot of hours. And if your only motivation is money and the title, you'll never find the motivation that you need to keep going. So the only way that I see to be able to achieve like these two things in parallel, not only is like creating some synergies, because many things that I learned for one side are the same things that will be useful for the other one, but at the same time, I really enjoy what I do. So there is no clear separation between what is my work and between what is like let's say, fun moments. I do have a lot of fun doing these things, and and especially if you have like a great team, like we have in CycleAI, Quadrin, Stamatis, Miguel, and Gonçalo, everything becomes so easier. Everything becomes so easier.
So you mentioned something about
If I would say, and just adding another thing, is more about the people that you surround of than how to behave, how your attitudes, the ones that you have yourself, very, very much related to the people you choose to be surrounded by.
That is quite true. You are who you surround yourself with. I've heard that quite a lot. And you mentioned at some point that there is no difference between your work and your life. So is there a time where you feel like you procrastinate a lot? And when you do, how do you come back from procrastinating, and how do you manage to keep everything on track since it's so intertwined and interconnected with each other?
I I mean, well, for some people, not having like this clear separation between work and relaxing life, it can be something hard because we don't have like a very fixed schedule. So basically, I have the freedom to do any of the work any time of the day from anywhere I want. For some people, this is a bit this is not easy because you end up like you might end up like procrastinating because you don't have a fixed time schedule that you need to have the work done. But in my case, it was exactly the opposite. I always fought exactly for that, to have that freedom to be able to do what I believe is the right thing to do with my timings and where I believe that it will be the easiest for me because doing a degree abroad, it's very important for me. I always have this flexibility of coming back to Portugal as often as I think I should and I want to. Of course, always having into consideration that we have to keep updated supervisors so that the most important is like having the work done by the end of the week. If this is possible, yeah, there is like there are not a lot of restrictions. And but above everything, for some people, yeah, it's like not having a time schedule might be one reason for procrastination. In my case, I see it as something that motivates me because I like what I do. So
It's passion, passion, and passion all the way. So
yeah,
how did you ask for help if you had to ask for help? Because I'm pretty sure at some point you had to reach out some way. How did you get yourself to reach out for help? And if you were turned down at some point, how was that feeling?
so I did quite a big mistake, not only in my degree in Portugal, but also in my master's last year here in Imperial. And the mistake was I didn't ask for help. So I was doing my master thesis and I was basically trying to do every single thing by myself, every single thing, not asking as often for help as I should from my supervisors, although they were there to help me all the time. The thing was that I was not asking for help. I was trying to solve all the problems by myself. It happened during the 5 years in Portugal. It happened last year in London. We had two projects last year, one in computational medicine and another in road safety. The From the first one, same. I was having like 1 hour supervision every month, very little, like 10, 20 times less than a regular student we're having here in London. And then what I found after going from the first to the second project was the dynamics of the research group were different. So I had to adapt like twice, two meetings every week. So I didn't actually have the option. And what I realized was, in fact, having these regular catch-ups during the week where I have the opportunity to ask for help to my supervisors and to my day-to-day supervisors makes things like so much easier and yeah, make things so much easier. And at the end, I end up with better marks that I used to have before, with less workload and better quality of work. So that's like in the professional perspective, asking for help. In the more personal perspective, um, asking for help, I mostly do it uh, to my family and and to a group of close friends that I already have here in London. But it's important, like to keep always these three dimensions open. Not only having the possibility on work to ask for help for your employees or supervisors, to also have the possibility to ask for help for friends, and to have the possibility to ask for help for family, because there will there is some type of help that one can do that the others cannot. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So some type of help that friends might be willing to give is not the same that family might be giving to give, and the other way around. And they are complementary. That's what I mean. Nobody substitutes anybody.
Yes, that is
Nobody substitutes
so
anybody.
important. Asking for help. And I love how
It's so
you
important.
made sure that you include help not only in the academic space but also in the social space as well as your family space. So what would your advice be to students who are trying to get their PhDs, to get their masters, but are swamped by work and are struggling to balance their personal life with their academic life?
I can say only two things. Make sure that what you do is something that you really like to do, and you are not able to know if you really like to do that or not without trying first. So you have to try and to check whether you like it or not. You cannot just like go online and see the topics and decide just based on that if you like it or not. You can get a good feeling, but it's not enough. You have to try it out so that you know whether you like it or not. And second thing is, I'm here for help you. So if there is any PhD student here listening to us, master student or anyone else, just send me a message and I'll be here to help you with anything that you might need, especially if you are planning to come studying here to London, to Imperial College of London. I can give you some extra help on that side because it's an environment that is already a bit more familiar to me.
Wow, that is amazing. And you have traveled to a lot of places, so I'm glad that you're advising based on experience. So, would you say that your travel experiences have contributed to the person that you are right now that I'm speaking to?
Completely, especially my Erasmus. In my Erasmus, I did it in Paris, and there was like a student accommodation, which is called Cité Universitaire. Multiple accommodations there, one accommodation for each country. House of Portugal, House of Brazil, House of Zimbabwe, House of South Africa, House of China. And it was like such a multicultural place that we could contact with many different cultures, not only the people, but as well the culture of each country itself, because it was kind of embedded in the accommodation itself, with architecture, with the costumes they have. And that definitely um, shaped the way I see people and the world generally. I think we always think everybody thinks that's like open-minded and like very tolerant and everything, but I think everybody thinks right now that it's impossible to be more open-minded, tolerant than we actually are already. But in fact, what happens is that after being in those places, you go a step forward, even though you think that you are already like in the maximum that you can achieve.
So, how important is education to you?
Sorry.
How important is education to you?
The importance of education for me is mostly like building a culture of hard work, building a culture of not giving up and always look for the solutions to the problems that you face, more than just like downloading information to your brain. That is a very like not a very important component of education, I believe, because with all the devices that we have already, like computers, uh, smartphones, it's even less and less important the amount of information that you have here, but it's much more important the way you process it. And education is very good to teach you how to process information than more to download information. That's that's becoming less and less important, I believe. In that sense, education for me is the most important.
So, when you spoke about how education is less about downloading information into your brain, would you say that there's a difference between school and education?
When you mean school, are you including university as well?
Yes.
Yeah, then definitely there is. Definitely there is education. You can, you are educated at home. You are educated by playing with your friends. Um, yeah, that has a much more important role than than school. But yeah, but school has its role. It's a social environment as well. Um, This is quite important nowadays. People are start seeing that in the past they were thinking that in the future everything will be remotely, but now they are realizing that one of the important components of school is not only what you learn, but as well keeping in touch, like in close contact with the people that you are studying the same subject. One of the most important parts of school and being in the school is exactly the social contact and how people shape each other behavior, something that it's much harder to happen while you are remotely. Yeah, on that sense, education first, school after, but both important.
So, with sticking on education again, do you think that education can be created to success?
You are definitely a step closer, and in the parent's perspective, the best investment that you can, the best way you can spend your money after fulfilling all the basic needs like food, drink, shelter, all of that, comes education, and not just like not just like values of personal values itself, um, but as well as teaching somehow like the norms of the society, but always empowering you and telling you that you have the power to shape them. You don't have to comply with all of them just because it is like that. You have the power to shape them, and if your ideas, if you feel that your ideas don't can bring forward like 21st century issues like global poverty, global warming, and if you at the same time you see that the likelihood of hurting someone with your ideas is very, very low or closer to zero, and the potential of your solutions are high enough at the same time, you should fight for it and take the risk. That's basically innovation comes from gray areas. If you are always like in your comfort zone, and if you are not willing to challenge uh, the way society is shaped, you will not do innovation. So you have to take the risk. You have to take the risk.
That is quite an interesting statement you mentioned about how innovation is,
Yeah,
it comes from gray areas.
comes
Besides
from gray area.
the fact that you have CycleAI and that you're also a writer and you do these amazing things, what other gray area have you been in your life? And please just give me more light on it.
I think that the best example that I can give is like when you're starting a business,
Mhm.
you cannot expect like to comply to every single regulation since the first minute. Minor things I'm talking about, of course. Um, for example, in the case of, for example, building up the image of CycleAI, the name, the logo, the algorithms that we are using, we had two options here. Whether we look at the, to be very specific, we had the option to look at the copyrights of every single of those, check whether the name was used before for any other company, checking whether the logo was used before, checking whether the algorithms have like property issues, and only after start using them and creating our own brand, or doing the other way around, take the risk, have some research. If we see that after quick research, everything seems that we are complying with, just go for it, start your idea, go forward, and keep checking whether there are like copyrights associated to each one of these components. Basically, what I mean is that you cannot, I mean, it's like the thing is that to be 90% sure about something, it might take you 1 hour, but to go from 95% to 99%, it may take you 1 year. And to in this concrete example is exactly that we wanted to make sure that 95% what we are using was we are basically doing in like a legal basis, let's say. But if we wanted to go from 95 to 99% that we are using was in a completely legal basis, it would take us 1 year instead. and we will not do nothing at the end. We would not do nothing.
Wow. Out
That's
of interest's sake, what is your biggest achievement thus far?
the biggest achievement that I achieved this far was finding what I like to work on in a professional perspective, of course, in a professional perspective. In the professional perspective, the biggest achievement that I got this far was finding what I like. It was data science because it gives me flexibility in terms of time, in terms of space, and I can, in 1 week, I can work in a project in medicine, and on the week after, I can work in a project in astronomy if I want. In the personal perspective, my biggest achievement so far, keeping a good relationship with my friends and with my family.
Okay. And from here forward, where are you going? Where to from here?
Where to grow from here?
Yes.
I really like because having success in something, but not being able to share it, you'll not feel the success. So from now on, the thing that I want most, again, in the professional perspective, is to make sure that we evolve our CycleAI team and CycleAI to the point that we become a company that are actually shaping the world, and that I'll be able to share the success of what we achieve to every single member of CycleAI. Because if we don't share what you achieve, you don't feel that you achieve it. And that part, I don't want to say no. It is, it's so good. Like like I was telling you, like receiving the news that we got like this prize today. And the first thing I did was calling the other guys from the team. And although we are like separate for a few thousand kilometers away, it's the feeling is like hard to describe in words. What is it like working on something without an issue that everybody recognizes as important, road safety, and at the same time as global warming, because more bikes means less pollution, and having like a team spread across Europe working on this, asking for nothing in exchange, is so rewarding. It's so rewarding, and it's with these guys that I want to share everything we achieve within CycleAI, and yeah.
Well, for me, this is all I wanted to ask from you, and I'm grateful for your time and your wise words that you've been able to share with me. And I look forward to contacting you about the PhD.
Oh,
And
if you can contact me anytime.
thank you so much.
Have a great day, and always call me, send me a message whenever you feel like that.
I will do that. Thank you so much.
Bye. See
Okay.
you. Nice to talk to you.